Hi everybody, welcome to the latest episode of Flat Out, hot on the heels of a wonderful weekend of action at Paris Longchamp and at Newmarket as well. Before we start, a reminder, please do enter our competition for your chance to win 2 tickets to British Champions Day at Ascot and a gilet and a cap thrown in for good measure as well. All you've got to do is to follow us on Twitter at Flat Out and retweet our competition tweet. It's as simple as that, so please do get involved for your chance to win that wonderful prize. Alongside me once again, Jerry Labour and Jack Nicol to talk through all the action from last weekend and indeed our thoughts on the forthcoming few days coming up over Saturday and Sunday and maybe even Friday as well. Joey, I mean, we were all very excited about the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe last weekend, and I don't think anyone was disappointed by the magnificent turn of foot shown by the winner Ace Impact.
No, it was magnificent, Tom. That's for sure. It was a really interesting race, and plenty of people beforehand were questioning the quality of it slightly, maybe saying it's a more interesting race without a superstar. But as we often see in racing, when you look back, often you can be surprised at the quality of races when you look back at them compared to where you were looking at earlier in the week. And what we saw on the day was a quite jaw-dropping performance, really. I thought for a second my old mate Westover had it there, and it was within a matter of strides that you suddenly noticed this thing coming from out of the clouds with rockets on. So yeah, it was some performance, and really, really jaw-dropping stuff.
Yeah, I think at one point Westover hit 105 in the run. I think it was something very short indeed. And to be fair, Rob Hornby, I thought, gave him an absolute peach. I mean, he broke from a lovely draw, got a brilliant position just in behind the leaders, and gave him every chance, didn't he?
He certainly did. And we were talking last week about how difficult I think a position he was in with Westover, and he dealt with it perfectly. He got his fraction spot on. He settled him really, really well. And you'd have to say that people look at Westover and question him to some degree. His consistency, he's been the model of consistency this year. He's been running fantastically well, even back to Dubai and Equinox, all the way through. He's been putting up admirable effort after admirable effort. The only real shame for him, he's only got one win to his name this year. But he's a very, very, very good horse on his day.
Yeah, he's extremely talented. And I feel as though he's just been unlucky, Jack, to bump into a bit of a superstar in the 3-year-old Ace Impact. I haven't seen a turn of foot like that in the Arc for quite some time down the outside. It was pretty breathtaking.
There was shades of Dancing Brave to it, wasn't it? But at the same time, it was refreshing that they didn't get out the hose pipe and they allowed the ground to kind of quicken up as it did. And I don't think there was any real hard luck stories probably as a result of that, was there, in the race? Possibly continuous. I don't think that was really any kind of fault of Ryan Moore. It was just the way the race panned out. He was kind of the one that I would maybe take out of it in terms of he was better than his finishing position. And on the back of his Ledger run and the turnaround, I think he can be marked up as a horse to follow next year and probably drop down to 1.5 miles and be hard to beat in all the top races. But no, look, Ace Impact, it was a sensational performance, wasn't it? And kind of defied quite a few trends. First winner who tried the trip since, as I mentioned last week, Salmarez, French 3-year-old Angle. I was trying to look up, has there ever been a horse that hadn't run it too? There possibly has, I don't know, but he obviously only debuted in January. So I think it's a remarkable training performance, and it was just a scintillating performance, wasn't it?
Yeah, I suppose with that in mind as well, Jack, the fact that he didn't run it too, Jean-Claude Rouget, unsurprisingly, has said that he thinks he's going to be better next year as well. So that's quite something to think about, isn't it, Joey?
Yeah.
It certainly is something. Just picking up on Jack, what Jack said about the watering. It wasn't refreshing for us if you're on a Bay Bridge ticket, not seeing the watering can coming out. I was praying by Saturday afternoon that the heavens might open by just random chance, or the watering can would come out. But yeah, I mean, by the morning, you kind of knew your fate with Bay Bridge, didn't you? That with the fact that there was no watering and it'd been so dry. So yeah, but no, sensational. I haven't really. They're obviously going to discuss about bringing Ace Impact back, but you'd have to say it's firmly odds against, wouldn't you? I mean, the commercial realities I would have thought would be very, very strong there to take him away to the Stallion Shed, and I believe that there was a deal done a while ago as well. So I think they really are pushing against the tide there to try and get him back. But wouldn't it be great to see him, because he looks like a sensational racehorse?
Yeah, I mean, that is a shame to hear that, to be honest, Joe. I wasn't aware of that. So disappointed to hear that news, particularly after Rouget's comments.
It's not confirmed yet. I'm just saying I think it would be unlikely.
Well, it makes sense, I suppose, doesn't it? As with all these things. Apart from that, we had some excellent racing on the undercard at Longchamp, of course, Highfield Princess, arguably the highlight of that, and at Newmarket as well. Jack, I'd nominate probably Blue Rose Sen as a really, not just an impressive performance, but one that I really enjoyed seeing, because it was nice to see her back to show what she can do. And to be fair, where Aurélien Lemaitre gave her a bit of a shocker at Goodwood, I thought he redeemed himself in grand fashion with a great ride at Longchamp on Sunday. So that was a really nice story, I thought. And then I don't know what you thought about Newmarket, but for me, Van Dijk was absolutely the highlight.
Yeah, we'll just quickly start on the undercard at Longchamp. Blue Rose Sen, it was a great ride, to be fair. She was always kind of in the right spot. And yeah, it was very much a bounce back to form. Annoyingly for me, State Occasion just finished out the places at 28th, I think she was, SP. So that was frustrating. And I just want to give a mention to Perdika, who finished second to Highfield Princess.
Oh, yeah.
Well, actually, we'll start with Highfield Princess. What a performance that was. I think defying all the kind of draw trends to win as she did. She probably is just a cut above them, but still to defy that berth was just, it was a top performance. But just Perdika, I think that was her 14th start of the year. She must have some constitution. She's been all over the globe, hasn't she? Out in Mesdames, France, danced every dance. I think she may have never been above listed class, maybe once or twice before that. But for connections to be bold enough to go and have a go at this race as well, and to finish second, they were justified in doing so. And I just think that was a really great bit of place, and then obviously commending to the filly as well to be able to do that, after such a hard and long season. And moving back to Newmarket, Van Dijk, what a performance that was, really. And it's really refreshing again to see that they've pulled stumps. They're not going to go for a Guineas campaign, which looks the right move. He looks an out-and-out sprint, and working backwards from the Commonwealth Cup looks absolutely the thing to do. So that's quite pleasing. Quite often you get these horses that try and stretch them out, and it's abundantly clear that they're not going to stay in. I think hopefully this is a trend where we might start getting this more, and this is probably why the Commonwealth Cup was introduced, wasn't it, just a few years ago?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and James Doyle came out afterwards and said that he thought he was a proper sprinter rather than maybe go up to a mile, 7 furlongs or a mile. Joey, and the same question to you, really. What were you taken with most over the weekend?
I don't know. Just picking up on Jack's point about Highfield Princess. It was a sensational performance, but also I just think that she did it kind of well below her best as well. She was being shoved along from a very long way out there. She just never looked like she was going at all. And maybe I just think maybe she needs a little bit further and probably just a little bit softer ground. Just she's got a lot of miles on the clock these days. It's just it might just be what she wants. But going to America with her, that to me, Santa Anita, I don't really fancy her for that at all. That seems like I was thinking straight after that race, like just watching that visually, I was like, that's your moment, lads. For me, I was thinking, time, cool this. I think she's had enough, and the fact that they're going to push her again, I wouldn't do it personally. I think I'd go out on the Group 1 at the top, which because I think she's going to be hard pushed to do that again this year. But moving back to Newmarket, as you say, obviously Van Dijk was very, very impressive. I thought Time Lock was extremely impressive. That was some effort from her. She's been flattering to deceive a few times, but she got a really, really strong gallop to run at here, didn't she? And we really saw her get into a lovely rhythm and put the rest of them to sword. The other one I was interesting, I think Sweet Memories ran really well, being probably on the wrong side, drawn away from Time Lock there, and she's just, the race is over by the time that she kind of gets put into it. She's one I'm really interested in. To only had 4 starts in her career so far, she's got so much improvement, being by Sea the Stars. She's one maybe even we might see her rock up for the fillies and mares on Champions Day, and that's a race that's wide open at the moment. I could see her running really, really well, as obviously with the winner should be going there too. But no, Sweet Memories is the one I kind of took out the race. I thought was really interesting. She's still around the 20-1 mark. She's a half sister to a Moyglare winner. there's plenty of class in that family, and See the Stars, she should just get better and better. And 1.5 miles, maybe even slightly further, will be her trip going forward. I was really taken with Sweet Memories in second, as well as the Time Lock finally sorting herself out with a strong gallop to run at.
Yeah, really interesting comments there, Joe. I have to say on Time. Like I was equally impressed. I thought she was fantastic in that contest. As far as I'm concerned, Van Dijk very much the highlights. Did put him up last week. I mean, obviously not the most genius selection in the world, considering he was favourite, or he was joint favourite at the time, I think, with Ribbit Tiber. But I did think he should have been shorter, and it's nice to see that he proved that on the track. And the other one I wanted to mention was the Cheveley Park, which I thought was, I mean, obviously it was such a shame that Relief Rally got pulled out, and I think it turned into a really one of the weakest renewals we've seen for a long time. But credit to Porta Fortuna, credit to connections of her for putting her in the race. Because if you're not in it, you can't win it. And she won it pretty well, but it was a below par renewal. There's no doubt about that, I think. That was last weekend. Let's move on to the forthcoming action this weekend. And we've got Ascot, we've got Newmarket, and we've got Redcar, all to look forward to. Jack, come to you first then for your best bet of the weekend. Where are you going to go?
We're going to Ascot on Saturday, and it's the big 7 furlong handicap. I'm going to desert my old favourite Barador. I'm not sure he's going to run. We're already on a quicker side of good. It's a dry forecast all week here down south, and it's probably going to be maybe touch and firm, good to firm. So he just obviously, as we know, needs a good bit of cut underfoot. So no, I'm going to stick with Fresh. We'll see here. Last time at Curragh, he went into many a notebook. Look, he just got absolutely no run. There he is, sort of in the middle behind the two red and white silks, the blue and white. Just couldn't get a run at all. We know Ascot is, well, his favourite hunting ground, isn't it? So he won two times over course and distance last year. He slid down now to a mark of 99. He's £3 well in. He finally gets out in the run here at the Curragh, and he's really throttling home. And look, his last 2 starts have actually been really quite eye-catching, and he just looks to be coming to the boil at the right time. Doesn't really matter what the ground does. He's fine on soft. He's fine on what it will be on Saturday as well. He's not actually jocked up at the moment, but I have had word that he is an intended runner. He can get standout 10s at the moment, his best price, but he's generally 8. If you can't get the 10s, of course, I think that's outstanding. And I actually think he's going to go off quite a strong favourite. I think he'll be 5-1, possibly shorter. Very, very strong each way bet for me, Tom.
Yeah, I like the sound of that, I have to say, Jack. And good to hear strength behind your selection and vigour as well. And Joey, what about you?
I've been struggling with as you do with that 7 furlong race, looked like the optimum opportunity for a best bet, but with the draw involved, I mean, old friends like Bless Him in there, I'm gonna wait. I'm not gonna fall into the trap again. I'm gonna wait till the time, wait till close to the time. So I did go to the Sun Chariot, and just for me, I think probably a filly I've fallen for again a few times this year, but Meditate's going to be a fairly strong each way bet for me in this. I just think that the headgear angle last time, she settled okay, but she travelled really, really well into the race, and she actually got interfered with a couple of times in the home straight. And when she finally got out in the matron, she was rattling, and she was making some ground up on Road Millennium. Just beautiful. She's a filly I really like. A bit of headgear might sort her out. And in this, I don't think she's got a hell of a lot to find. I think fast ground and a mile will be exactly what she wants. My only concern will be Prosser getting the watering can out, because we don't really want that, do we? I mean, fast ground for this filly, and she's really she's obviously not as good as Tahira, but she's probably the best around other than Tahira of the 3-year-olds and maybe the others. I think she's got a lot of talent, and she clearly has some temperament. She's getting bigger and bigger. She's really filling into it, kind of growing. So this has been a bit of a throw-out year in the middle, but I'm hoping she'll kind of really light up in the last few starts this year. And obviously her intended target finally we're probably going out to Santa Anita. But I think she's got a chance of picking up a Group 1 on the way here. Inspiral's not the most reliable of sorts. The French filly was obviously very impressive beating Via Sistina last time, but Whether she's going to want to come over for fast ground, I'm not entirely sure. And I think Meditate each way is a pretty decent bet. I'd like to see her ridden more forward on the Rolling Mile, maybe sit second. There's not a hell of a lot of pace in here, but it's a bit muddling. There's a few that have gone forward in the past, but no, I think she's got a better chance than 9-1 suggests. So yeah, I'll be sticking with Meditate.
Okay, Joey, I'm going to take you on actually with my best bet in that same race. I'm going with Heredia up against you. She is entered for a Group 2 the week after, is Heredia, but as far as I'm aware, she's due to take up Group 1.
Wasn't she supplemented for this?
Yeah, so she should be.
She's going to run, isn't she? I think
she should. Yeah, she should. Unless it's. I mean, I can't see why they wouldn't. So yeah, fingers crossed she does. And for me, that she's absolutely deserved this crack at a Group 1 after some absolutely excellent performances towards the kind of back end of this season. She started off a little bit on the iffy side, but 2 starts over a mile this campaign have resulted in very impressive victories both times. Now, the first of those came at Haydock over a mile in listed company, where she bolted in, beating the decent Purple Pay nearly 4 lengths. But it was last time out at Sandown that impressed me the most in Group 3 company, where she beat Queen for You in the Atlanta Stakes. And it was the manner in which she did it. It was good ground that day. And it wasn't the fastest of pace set by the leaders. She was held up towards the rear. And I've got to say, coming towards the kind of final 3 furlongs, I thought, she's going to be in a bit of trouble here because they've gone too slow up front. What she then did was show a remarkable turn of foot to pick up the leaders in quite scintillating fashion and recorded some pretty amazing sectionals for the race and for the ground as well. In furlong 6, she hit 11.68, which was the quickest of any of those fillies in the race. Potapova hit 11.77, which was the second quickest. That's also notable. But it was the 7th furlong that really put the race to bed. And she was the only filly to clock under 12 seconds in that 7th furlong. And not only did she go under 12 seconds, she went significantly under 12 seconds, 11.63. And the second quickest was Potapova again, 12.03, and Novus, 12.03. So there's quite a distinct difference between Heredia and the rest in that field. If she clocks similar sectionals, the ground is likely to be the same or a little bit quicker come Saturday, then I think she's absolutely worthy of place at Group 1 level. It was the manner in which she quickened up that impressed me the most. I think she's getting better as she goes on this year, and a mile exactly what she wants. So if she records similar fractions, I think she'll be bang there or thereabouts in the big race on Saturday. Let's go for other best recommendations then. And Jack, come to you.
Well, I'm going to go to the 2-year-old trophy at Redcar. Brace yourself. It's 100-1 shot.
This is quality. This is what we do it for.
This is, and now of course she's 100-1 for a reason. It's by no means a big bet, a very small bet, half a point, if you will. And that's Tagar of Michael Dodds. Now, I was really impressed with this filly on debut. We'll just see it here at Beverley. She's just there in the noseband in about 3rd, absolutely motoring home. I thought this day she'd go on probably to be a Queen Mary filly. Next time out at Pontefract, she got a suboptimal ride. You have to be on the pace there, and I think kind of derailed my idea of going on to the Queen Mary. She then ran at Redcar next time out, and this is kind of my angle sort of into the race, if you will. You see here, Hala Emirati went on to win the race. He's rated 92. Big Ev's there in 2nd. She was 3rd. 7 Question. He's been a really progressive 2-year-old this season. Now, it doesn't go off a handicap mark, of course. She's rated 76, and she has to give the likes of Dragon Leader, who is absolutely a worthy favourite here. She has to give him £5. But I just think on that Redcar performance, over course and distance, of course, she's just a bit overpriced for me. Look, you probably need a good draw as well. You want to be on the far side. So if you want to wait for decks in the draw, you'll probably get a few extra places as well, maybe 6, possibly even 7 places. I'm going to have a little go now with 100-1. I just think she can absolutely outrun those odds. She's near enough the absolute rag. I see her definitely finishing in the first half of the field, as I say, if she replicates that Redcar run. So yeah, that would be one at a big old shout. Another horse that I'm going to be backing is Breeze. Now she's doubly entered on Saturday. She's either going to run in the listed October Stakes at Ascot, but it looks more likely that she's going to run at Redcar as well in the listed Guineas Stakes. She ran there at Sandown last time out, and you'll see her just clipping heels there, coming into the straight. She'd been pretty keen early on, as she is. She's a real strong goer, and Chinder's a solid enough standard bearer as well, and she's finished on the heels of some good horses here. She drops back down into what looks an easier race for me, and more importantly, dropping down to 7. I don't know why Connections haven't even tried 6 furlongs for this filly, because she's got bundles of pace. I remember actually Nick Luck said before she ran the Irish Guineas that she actually works all over Highfield Princess. Now this is a horse that to be able to do that must be a real tool. I'm just not sure what her best trip is, and I think dropping back in trips possibly going to be the key to her. Unfortunately, there's no prices at the moment, but it looks like she is going to run, as I say, in the Redcar race. So yeah, keep an eye out for her for sure. Jason Hart's jocked up on both of them, but he's also jocked up on rides at Redcar. She's been quite well backed. The race we just saw before there, Heredia winning, she got a terrible run that day. She was too keen again. So that's kind of the angle. Hopefully they go pretty quick as well. There's quite a few pace angles in there as well. So that should definitely help. And she'd be quite a strong selection.
Lovely stuff, Jack. Thanks very much indeed. Another strong selection from yourself. A lot of racing this weekend to file through, Joey. Anything else take your eye?
I would say here again, Bless Him will probably be on my radar again. Shamefully, I have to admit that, but I'll wait till close to the time, see more how the race is shaping up and whether he's drawn near some pace. I've got a feeling he'll run another big race, and obviously he's fairly his recent form is to some extent intertwined a bit with Fresh, and so yeah, he'll be one I'll be keeping an eye on for sure, hoping he gets a good draw. I'd just like to reiterate Sweet Memories each way, just a small play ante-post in the fillies and mares on Champions Day will be one that I think that she deserves to be a little bit closer to time lock, and it's her only entry, and I'm hoping that maybe she'll go. So yeah, I'm gonna put that up. Sweet Memories as a small play.
Okay, lovely stuff, Joey. Thanks very much. I've got a couple I wanted to mention. One of those is Queen Aminata, who runs in the 410 at Ascot on Saturday. That's the McGee Group British EBF October Stakes, a listed race. This is a race in which she was second in last year, and that came behind Soft Whisper. The going was good to soft that day at Ascot. It's likely to be good this weekend, which is really going to help her. She's best on a quick surface. We haven't had that for a while for her on turf. The last time came at Ascot in the Group 2 Duke of Cambridge, where I think she was just a little bit outclassed. This is obviously a listed race. It is weaker. She finished behind White Moonlight after that at Chelmsford in their listed race there. White Moonlight given a notably superb ride from Kieran Schumacher from the front. At Chelmsford, if you've got a horse like White Moonlight and you kick from the front with an easy lead, it's very difficult to get them pegged back, particularly if you're aboard Queen Aminata, who is held up in last. And she did eventually finish second. I thought it was a very worthy run from her. She had a break after that, went to Donny for the Ledger meeting in the Scepter, and finished quite a way off Matilda Picot, again held up. But it was good to soft ground that day, and I don't think the race really panned out in her favour. She wants a strong pace to pounce on quick ground, and hopefully that's what she'll get on Saturday. Second in the race last year, quicker conditions to deal with this time. And I think there's a big one in her this season. Hopefully it's going to be that. She's not won since Newcastle earlier in the year, first run of the season actually, when beating Aramis Gray, but she's definitely capable of a good performance, and I think it's going to come this weekend. And the other one is another William Haggis horse actually, and another William Haggis filly, this time in the form of Blue Missile, who runs in the British EBF 40th anniversary fillies handicap, a Premier handicap. This is a class 2, and it comes at Newmarket at 2:40 on Saturday afternoon. And she's had 4 starts so far, has Blue Missile, rated 84 for her travails, which she's achieved after that quartet of outings. Winning a Linkfield Novice, that came last year. Couple of starts this season. You'd look at them and think, a little bit underwhelming. First of those, on a return, when I think she needed the run, came at Goodwood. That came in the Height of Fashion Stakes, the Trial for the Oaks. Outclassed, I think needed the run as well, behind Araminta. Had a little bit of a break then, and went to Windsor over a mile and a quarter, where she finished 4 lengths behind Zaga, and finished in 5th of 8. But to me, she just shaped like a proper stayer in the making, which is a little bit odd because her pedigree is, has got some sprinters in there, a couple of milers as well. But remember, she's a daughter of Galileo, out of an Ifrage mare, and there is stamina in the pedigree. And I think for all the world at that Windsor run last time, she looked in need of a 1.5 mile trip, quite significantly so. She gets that on Saturday for the first time. Amongst these other fillies, she is, I think, pretty much the most unexposed behind possibly Lady Boba of Rafe Beckett's. Apart from her, she has had the least chances to prove herself. And as a 3-year-old stepping up in trip, I think Blue Missile is definitely worth keeping an eye on for His Majesty the King and Her Majesty the Queen as well. So those are my 2 other selections for the weekend, both from the William Haggis camp. So hopefully Mr. Haggis can have a nice few days of it at Ascot and Newmarket. Those are the best bets for this weekend and the best recommendations. But to finish, a bit of an ante-post angle, this time from Mr. Jack Nicol.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. And yeah, just coming back to Newmarket on the weekend, there was a performance there which is really blowing my socks off, to be honest. And that's Shawari, who didn't win, of course, but she completely fluffed the start. You can see her here in the red silks. From really the 3 furlong pole to the line, she's really absolutely motored home. She's closing all the way to the line. It was notable to me that Ollie Sangster was in the racing TV offices a week or so ago, and he mentioned that she'd had a little bit of a setback coming on from Sandown. So it's hard for me to think that she'd be really 100% there. Surely they would have much preferred a smoother prep. That was only our 3rd start. It's quite possible that she didn't suit the track as well. But for me, that was just a sensational performance. The last 3 furlongs, she was around, nearly a second quicker than anything else in the race, which on that ground equates to about, just over 5 lengths. It was a real serious performance. She's only going to get better being by a new bay that over further. It's quite possible that she could go for the Fillies Mile, which is a week on Saturday. She's around 6-1 for that now. I've had a little go on that, but that wouldn't be the official tip. I would actually recommend her, though, for the Guineas. Now, she's a standout 25-1 with Bet365. I'm well aware that not everyone can get on with them. She's a general 16s, but I just think that's an outstanding price, to be fair. She's already beaten Fallen Angel, as we know, at Sandown, and there's absolutely nothing to knock her form. If she does go and take her chance at Newmarket, where I think she'll probably win if she does go and run there, really, just on that performance, it was sensational. So at 25-1, if you can get that, even at 16s, look, if she goes and wins, as I say, if she does turn up, she'll be 4-5-1. So, yeah, really strong on Shawari. I think she's a really exciting filly for next year.
I think it's interesting. We shouldn't forget the winner either, should we? I think that's a nice horse too.
Oh, of course, yeah.
A fair bit to improve on
as well. I just think she got the run of the race, and Shawari, maybe a little bit rusty, just was playing catch up from the first furlong, really. And for me, she's by far the best filly in that race.
I think the thing in defence of Carla's Way is that she's very much a Guineas run style, isn't she?
Quite possibly, yeah.
That's a very nice Guineas run style, and so you can see her running really well. So I think she's a nice horse as well. I think it's very easy sometimes to forget about the winners. I think Shawari is fantastic, really, really eye-catchingly, brilliant in the way that she closed. But we won't forget the winner either. Just a question, Jack. Do you know what's happening with Via Sistina? Have you heard anything about Via Sistina?
I've not. No.
She was supposed to run in the Opera, and she didn't show up. And she's got 2 entries.
Sorry, I assume you were going to say she's left in the Fillies and Mares. I assume that's probably where they're going. But
but she's also the Champion Stakes.
Right.
Those are the 2. And I was thinking, if out of those 2 options, I'd probably be going Champion Stakes. What would you think about that? I wouldn't really want to run over 1 mile 4.
Possibly. I worry that she'll bump into some top horses in the Champion Stakes. I've actually been looking at Mostard after the last few days. I think it's going to be good ground or quicker at Ascot. We're
Looks
not
that
far
way.
away now, and the forecast looks like it's pretty nice for the rest of October. But they've kind of committed to the Breeders' Cup, but he's a 10 furlong tool. It's going to be good ground or quicker. 800 grand to the winner. Surely he goes there, no? 8-1.
I just, with a horse like him, I think you probably plan from a long way out. That's probably the only thing. He's not one of those ones you'd want to make a change with. So I think that'd probably be a thing that will screw you on that one. It's just that they'll be committed now.
Yeah, look, after York, he did name check the Champions Stakes, but he said obviously the quicker ground, so might just work back. I think it was probably Angus Gold who did name check the Breeders' Cup. So quite possibly, I just thought it was interesting they left him in. So
definitely,
at 8-1, it's interesting. If you could get an on-run and no bet, you'd be all over that. But,
you'd be laughing, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
it is an interesting race because it's both of those races we mentioned today, like the Champion Stakes and the Fillies and Mares. They're very hard to kind of see what's actually going to turn up on the day. I mean, I think if it's good ground, is Bay Bridge going to turn up on good ground again? I can't. Well, I don't know. They might just say that's enough for him. So very, very hard to know what's going to run with those races. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting.
Throws everyone's plans out the window, doesn't it? With good ground in the offing, it's never good ground at Champions Day.
Never.
Ingrained in it, it's going to be soft, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And also, Jack, you can tell you're a flat man. We're just about to get into the jump season. You're tipping something for the Guineas. I wouldn't let the jumps boys let you say that.
Well, Shawari at 25s or 16s will keep you warm over the long, hard winter, won't it?
Yeah, we won't tell anyone that Impere Pass was his biggest winner of like the last 12 months or so. So don't mention that. Whatever
you got
you
to
do.
back your naps.
Not the time he ran an AQPS flat race either. It was
Nickel loves the sticks. Nickel loves the sticks. You heard it here first.
Very much so. Right, guys. On that note, pleasure as always. Please do remember to enter our competition, like and retweet, follow on Twitter, and that's about it from us. Please do remember to gamble responsibly. At the end of the day, gambling should be fun. And when the fun stops, please do stop. And please do like and subscribe to our channel. It really does help us out. And indeed, comment with your best fancy for the weekend's action. We'd love to hear from you. For now, though, that's it from Flat Out. Until next time, it's goodbye.